dive in, if you're enjoying taking care of business, hit subscribe on YouTube and follow on Spotify. It helps the show grow, supports creators behind the scenes, and gives you access to original insights from extraordinary guests. Now let's get into today's episode. All right, so Jamie, you're the founder of Cornerstone Property Group, a company that works closely with local authorities across South East England to provide temporary accommodation and support services, while offering landlords free property management. But you're also the CEO of JD Enterprises, a dedicated investor and a trustee of Karis Helping Hand, a charity that supports children living with brain tumours. And beyond your business and charitable work, you're the host of your brand new podcast series, The Driven Podcast, where you share inspiring conversations and entrepreneurs, leaders and innovators. So big welcome to Taking Care of Business podcast. I'm super excited to dive into your journey and hear your insights on business and just life in general. Because it seems like you were living a very full one. So I think what I'm really interested to know is what drives you to keep building, scaling and investing in businesses. So like, why do you do what you do?
Yeah, I don't know. I was actually speaking about this with someone the other day. I think it comes. I feel like I'm driven by progress, and I found that out through periods where there've been no progress and just feeling like there's a severe lack of purpose or drive. And I feel like I'm sort of your classic entrepreneur in terms of once something's achieved, it's always looking on to what's next rather than sort of sitting back and reflecting on what's been successful. But I think it's just constantly pushing myself. You know, as you just mentioned, we're starting a podcast now. That was something that was really daunting, and going on podcasts like this one. So I'm just like seriously just trying to keep pushing my sort of boundaries and keep growing and progressing. And business has just been my passion for a long time, and I feel that I want to see how far I can go in it. Really.
So I understand that you withdrew from university by the age of 19.
Mm-hmm.
I've replaced the word dropped out of university because I hate that expression, because I don't think that you did drop out of university. It's more like a pivot to something else.
Yeah.
But yeah, before completing your degree and subsequently launched your first company, which was Cornerstone Property Group. So a couple of things here. Who was Jamie Darkin at the age of 18 or 19 when that happened? And who is he today? But then also, like, what gave you the conviction to leave university before completing your degree? And what did you learn from those early years?
Yeah, I think I'm trying to think back. It's a long time ago now. I've always been interested in business. I remember being at uni thinking like, I want to set something up here. Just before I went to uni, I taught myself how to build websites from scratch, just from YouTube. I've done a few for people. Yeah, I always wanted to be in business. I didn't really ever want to go to uni. It was more my family that wanted me to go, and I, kind of went for them, I suppose. So whilst I enjoyed it being there, I enjoyed the social life more than the lectures and the course that I was on, and that was ultimately why I decided to leave. Really, is that actually the course that I was pursuing wasn't really what I was interested in or what career I wanted at the end of it. So I would say I was someone quite hungry, but probably following the wrong direction at that time. And who am I today? Well, it's tough. Again, it's a tough one. I'm really, as I said a minute ago, really at a stage in my life where I want to keep pushing myself and progressing. Love being involved in businesses, love getting around lots of successful people as well, which is what I'm trying to spend a lot of my time doing. But keep pushing the boundaries. We are investing in businesses. We're looking to acquire some businesses. We're growing what we've got. So it's really exciting time, I think, for us at the minute. Or for me at the minute, personally, got a really good family life, relationship, everything like that. So life's quite good. Just I'm really driven to sort of purpose and fulfillment at the minute in this stage of life, which is quite new. Last sort of six to 12 months or so. So coming into a good stage of life. What was your other question? Sorry, I've forgotten.
My other question was, what gave you, what made you decide to leave university at the point that you did?
I think it was it was actually more a case of can't do this anymore, rather than this is the right time to leave. Um, I got to a stage where I felt quite down, a bit homesick, but just decided, yeah, like this is just not for me anymore. And it was actually really tough because at the time, I was in second year, I was living in a house. We had a 12-bedroom house with all my friends from first year, so I loved everyone I lived with. Our social life was really good. My best friend, who's still my best friend now, like lived with him there. So leaving them was really tricky. But it just got to the stage where I was like, I just, I can't keep doing this for other people anymore. I need to go and do what I need to do. And at the time when I left, I didn't know what that was. We didn't know what we was going to do afterwards.
First of all, living with 12 people sounds like a nightmare to me, so I probably would have left
Yeah,
for
it
that
was it was
reason.
chaos. Yeah.
It sounds to me like, you said you went to university and it was mostly for your parents rather than for yourself. But it sounds like you've had that entrepreneurial spirit and it was kind of like you felt like in a cage and trapped. And to me, it sounds like you're the same person you are today that you were back there, but you just kind of like figured it out a little bit more. And
Yeah, just more experience now.
yeah,
Yeah, and I would potentially agree with that. I mean, like being in business has been something I always wanted to do before school, during school, at uni. Like they had different sort of like departments that could help you set up businesses, and I was always trying to think, right, what's the one that I can go set up? I mean, I never really done anything, mainly because the social life was so busy, but it's always there. So yeah.
yeah. When you were talking as well about like feeling a little bit down, I saw your Instagram, sorry, not Instagram, LinkedIn post about burnout and how burnout can happen if you're just not fulfilled.
Hmm.
And yeah, I completely agree with that. And it just like that made me think of that a little bit. So you withdrew from university, didn't finish your degree, and then you set up Cornerstone Property Group, as I said. So why did you move into social housing? Like, what is it about this sector that you were like, yes, this is it. This is the path that I'm meant to follow. This is why I've left university, and I won't be bored like I was at uni, and I will feel that hole inside of me filled.
Yeah, there was literally none of that. So I set it up with my dad. I left uni, I had no idea what I was going to do. As I say, it just got to the stage where I felt like I had to get out, and my dad had previously run a similar business that he'd sold a few years before that, and he said, "Let's set it up, let's do it together." And I'll be honest, I didn't really know what it was. Um, so I turned up, went to go and work with him. I was like, right, okay, what are we setting up? And he kind of explained it to me, and it just went from there, really. And that was 9.5 years ago. So I didn't know what it was going to look like, to be honest. And it's just gone from strength to strength since we've been running it.
That's fantastic. I mean, so I think that's really lucky. I can appreciate you have done are doing other things since founding Cornerstone, um, but I think it's quite fortunate that you started something and worked super hard and got it off the ground. And I mean, it sounds like you enjoy what you're doing as well. When I decided to leave hairdressing, it took quite a long time to find the thing that I wanted to do. I had to,
Mhm.
speak to a lot of people, understand what different industries did, but it's quite nice to see that you had somewhat of like a clear and quick transition. Hope I'm not wrong in
Yeah,
saying.
no, 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 and it was. I think the transition now of over 9 years has been going through. I've done every aspect of our business, and I was saying this on a recent podcast I was on. I don't feel bad asking anyone to do anything because I have done everything. It's cleaning flats, cleaning mold, decorating, moving furniture, handling the bookings with council, whatever it may be. We've done it. So I've gone through the stages of going from being a property manager, you know, whatever it may be, up to now business owner, which is very different. And that has allowed us obviously to put different systems and teams in place, which now has allowed us to go and do other things. So um, it's been a good transition, but yeah, it's a
If
big
you were
learning
to
curve.
start up another business, would you do the same thing again? Would you work in every single different department? No.
No, 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 no. I think I've spent a lot of time learning, watching successful people or successful business owners, and I think you really have to learn how to leverage your time better.
Yeah.
When you're 19, 20, doesn't matter as much, I suppose, and it's actually a good grounding to sort of go and do everything. But now, I'm looking for sort of the best people to come in and work for us, looking at how we can systemize things and really maximize my time, because I enjoy doing it, spending time like this. On podcasts, we've got our own one that we're doing, as I said. You can't be everywhere and do everything if you
Yeah.
want to do multiple things. So you need to be able to rely on people.
Yeah. Agree. At this point, I feel like you can play at your strengths. So tell me what the business model is behind Cornerstone Property Group. So, like, how do you balance profitability with social impact?
But it's actually a tough one because we are a business. It needs to be profitable. It needs to be successful. But at the end of the day, we do also house people at their most vulnerable points. And now that we are bigger and we've got to a scale, it's easier to then reinvest back into that. So we've recently placed a few roles, recruited for a few roles that are more client focused, more client facing. So we want to be able to sort of signpost services rather than necessarily providing in-house services, but building relationships with other organisations, other charities, things like that. So we can kind of become the one-stop shop to signpost. And we house people who have come from all walks of life, whether it's domestic violence, whether it's drug and alcohol abuse, literally everything, we've probably seen. So if we can help as well as make a profit, then, that's beneficial to everyone.
So, how exactly do you win contracts with local governments? Was it quite easy to
Now,
win there
yeah.
first of all?
So as I said, when we first started, my dad had run similar business. So we had contacts in two councils at the time. So we started providing service to them, and then it was a case that I just kept pushing and knocking on doors. And after a certain amount of time, you've got the experience, you've got the credibility under your belt. You know what you're doing. You become a reliable supplier, and that's kind of how it's happening. I think we're working with 15, 16 local authorities now.
Yeah. That's really interesting because I do like to ask businesses how they think it's best to win and maintain new business. And I
Mm.
wondered if it was different with like winning contracts with governments, but I think that it just ultimately boils down to having a good reputation, doing what you say you're going to do, and
Yeah.
that's that. I mean, what else is there really to do?
No, I think that's what it comes down to, relationships as well. Being able to communicate effectively. We had a few meetings last week where standards might have slipped from us in certain departments, but how do we then go and fix that quickly? How do we communicate that we fixed it, and more importantly, not just communicate but show it. But having them chats and that communication, I think, is so important because you want to know. Yes, it's nice to have your ego rubbed and hear what you're doing well, but you actually want to know what you're not doing well, what other suppliers or providers might be doing well, and how you can improve. And if you can be constantly improving and innovating, then you're going to become the provider for whatever, in any business that is. You're going to be the provider of choice. So that's what we always try to do.
That reminds me of something I've heard on another podcast talking about when you have an idea, a business idea, instead of writing down all the things that would work, you write down all of the things that aren't going to work about it, and then you write down all of the solutions to that, and then you write down all of the bad things or the negative things that can come with those solutions. And I mean, it's never ending, but it's definitely a better way to grow rather than just seeing what could
Yeah,
come of it, because
you're
that's not
always
even
going to
a
come up against
guarantee.
problems. Yeah, of course. You're always going to have problems in any business. That I don't care what business it is. You're always going to come up against challenges, things you know wrong. If you can be the person to come up with a solution, which I think I'm very solutions focused. I think most entrepreneurs are.
Yeah.
Then you're going to be more successful than not if you can come up with solutions to them problems.
So talking about challenges and solutions, um, I'm quite interested to know how somebody finances a business like Cornerstone Property at the start. Yeah, like what are the challenges there, and did you have any challenges? Did you
Yeah.
overcome them?
It was very slow. We grew completely through cash flow. So so all of our accommodation is rented. We work with a lot of landlords, so we pay rent in advance to a landlord. So we would have to pay the landlord before we take the property on, and then we invoice in arrears. So we always had to bridge that gap. And when you've got no cash coming in, or very little cash coming in, it's hard to do that. So it was a case of, keep constantly spinning the money that we're getting in back into new properties. And it wasn't until we got to, I think our goal originally at the start was get to 40 properties. And we knew that that would be the tipping point between stop reinvesting our money and actually be able to earn some money. And that took a lot longer. I can't even remember how long it took now, but it took a lot longer than we wanted it to. And it wasn't until we got past that point that then we was actually able to start earning some money, but invest a lot quicker as well in growth.
So you were paying the landlords up front. Did you know that the money was going to be returned to you from the government at that point?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean,
Yeah,
it's still
but
difficult though to come up with that kind of cash to hand out and then kind of wait for the government, because I mean, my last experience with them, they're not that fast, but I might be wrong there.
yeah, I mean the councils we work with are actually fairly good, but when you're small and it's not a lot of cash coming in, you feel it when you're waiting for it. Well, you do anyway, I suppose. But now we're at a point where we can go and take properties easy because we've got cash flow cycling all the time. In the early days, you're working with 2 councils. You've got a handful of properties. It's just slow, and it would have been lovely to have had a chunk of money to really chuck in and go for it, but we just didn't do that. So, but again, I think that teaches you some real lessons and gives you some good grounding, really.
Yeah. So since then, you've scaled Cornerstone to a multi-million-pound revenue business. So again, a couple of things here. What was the key factor or factors that got you there? And what advice would you give to somebody looking to scale a business to that level?
Um, so one of the big turning points for us was actually during COVID, which is people find quite hard to believe. So a lot of our businesses, someone's in the property and they might be there for a period of time. They move out, we have to deal with the voids, or we're handling the maintenance while they're in the property. That takes up a lot of time and can be really reactive. Whereas in COVID, that stopped. And this is really where I learned where my time was best spent. Because at the time, I think we had me and a part-time member of staff. I think she'd done 4 days a week. And the calls just stopped. No one was being moved and no maintenance was being done. So we didn't really have much work to do. So I just went out because we were still in central service. I just spent all my time going out and getting new properties on. And we went into COVID, I think with 60 properties, and we came out of COVID with we were sort of double, about 120-ish. And I remember we come out of lockdown and we hired a new team. We had 3 people start like the day we was allowed to go back or whatever it was, and that was it. And it was like, they're going to manage the operations and I'm going to grow the business. And ever since then, that's always been my mindset. And a lot of people struggled in COVID, but that was a real godsend. More for my change of mindset, if anything, because I just thought I have to focus on that rather than low value task or repetitive tasks. Just go out and grow and use my skills where they're most valuable.
And then what advice would you give to somebody who's wanting to scale a business to the level that you have?
I think similar, really, is try to spend your time most effectively, and leverage your time where possible. So if you can bring in someone to operate the business, even if it means sacrificing your own salary for it, well, I've done that as well at times. If I we needed I remember this, we needed an office manager because I was just getting bogged down in a lot of admin. And I said, right, next 6 months, I'm going to pay for them and sacrifice my own salary. But it meant, again, I was able to go and spend that time growing the business. So actually we covered that and more in a quick period of time. I think you need to have the right mindset that you need to leverage your time, bring people in who are better than you to do stuff that you don't like doing, and go out and bring the cash in.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds completely true when you say that you are, you find solutions. And I mean, it does make me laugh sometimes that people do get tied up doing the stuff that they don't like doing. And I mean, it's quite obvious to get rid of the stuff that you don't like doing, but so many people don't. They get like bogged down in trying to do everything, and thinking that perhaps they should like improve their weaknesses. But it's just nice to see like you playing at your strengths and seeing what you can achieve over time.
I think if you listen to people who are successful, you know, so for example, Richard Branson's book, you know, he's highly dyslexic. He can't do the stuff he doesn't like to do. So he had to go and employ someone. But what that meant is he then spends his time on the things he's really good at. And that's not just him. You know, I've read so many books, podcasts, watched videos. You know, you look at all the successful people. That's what they do. And I don't, you know, it's more of a mindset thing. I think people that are holding on to everything are just control freaks, really, a lot of the time, and they can't trust other people to do it. And if you can't get over that, I think you're gonna struggle to really scale.
Yeah. So I heard that you're looking to acquire businesses, particularly in commercial facilities. Now I'm going to put my lawyer hat on because I'm really interested in acquiring businesses, and I'm just about to start my second seat of my training contract, and I'm going into finance and working closely with the leverage finance lawyers to help businesses like yourself finance those acquisitions. So this is where all my nosy questions come out to do with that. So what is the market right now? What is the market like right now for these kind of acquisitions that you're looking to do? And how do you go about finding the right targets?
So the market, I think it's a big opportunity because it's quite well documented that a lot of baby boomers are sort of entering retirement age now, and the businesses we're looking at are generally sort of owned by that demographic. So I think it's a huge opportunity, and we are at the minute spending a lot of time building some processes in how we get direct to the sellers rather than going through agents. I can't give away all my tactics and skills at the minute, but
We'll take this offline.
yeah, no, we can do that. But yeah, we've got a few different ways at the minute that we're reaching out to owners directly, and yeah, I mean we're having some interesting conversations at the minute, which is good, but it's it's really exciting.
How do you feel about like financing these acquisitions through like debt or equity? Would you prefer to stay in complete control?
Yeah. So we're not looking to give away any equity. We're looking to finance via debt, and sort of structure deals in a certain way, yeah, that can be facilitated through debt.
So you mentioned like the baby boomers, they're looking to sell their businesses. Do you have a strategy for like turning these businesses around and then making them more kind of like in line with your business? Or are you open to kind of like new businesses and seeing what they have to offer and, you know, if they are doing anything new and initiative and innovative, or
Yeah,
like do you kind of like know what you're looking for?
we've got quite a good criteria of what we're looking for. You know, we're not looking for turnaround businesses. We're looking for more established businesses where they've got management team in place, profitable, been established quite a while as well. And where I think I can benefit the business is that a lot of, I was having quite an interesting conversation the other day with a business owner, built up quite a successful business, to be honest, and used the phrase that, their business is being run by dinosaurs now. They need someone new to come in and, add new technology and sort of modernize it. And that's where I think I can add a lot of value, which then means we can scale the business. But of course, we, that particular business is quite large. They've got a massive team around them. I'd be naive not to listen to them as well and look at the things they're doing right. And actually, the benefit of acquiring businesses is that we can then potentially take some of that knowledge and put it into our existing business where we might have not thought of certain things, to help that grow as well. So I think it's mutually beneficial.
Yeah. Sounds like you know exactly what you're doing, to be honest. I mean, yeah.
There's a plan in place, yeah.
Listen, I don't doubt it. You've done so exceptionally well over the past 10 years. I can only see like you going from strength to strength. So you have invested in property, people, and business ventures. What types of those do you gravitate towards, and what do you tend to avoid?
I think at the minute my focus is investing in is acquiring businesses, looking at businesses that we can acquire, and also trying to bring in the best possible people. So I'm spending a lot of my time at the minute really honing our recruitment and how we are bringing in sort of A players as if they're called, that can bring in real value to the business, because again it comes back to me wanting to leverage my time as much as possible. In terms of property, we are looking at that, but it's kind of on the back burner at the minute. So I'd say my main focus is business and it is property, and it's people. What are we avoiding? Things that we don't know, really. So the businesses that we're looking at are all stuff where I've got transferable skills. So a lot of the commercial facilities that we're looking at, we've done cleaning in our business, we've done maintenance, we've done gas and electrics and all them kind of things. So we're just looking at taking that and putting it into more commercial services where we can scale it quicker. And people, as I say, I'm really looking for sort of best caliber people we can find now. People that are happy. I feel like it's, you want to be around the people that kind of lift you up, who are inspiring, who can push us, hold me accountable as well. I think that's important. And kind of avoiding, then mood hoovers who are a bit negative or, kind of pass responsibility on, or we don't want to be held accountable. We're not interested in working with people like that.
How do you conduct your interviews to find those people, or is it just chemistry that you go from?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, recently, it's really like I've put a lot more effort into this. My interviews are it's more just to understand them. I think to understand their way of thinking, their sort of their cultural habits in the workplace, what they get up to outside of work. Really, can I see myself working with this person, but actually enjoy spending time with them, because you spend a lot of time with the people at work. And we've now developed certain tests, culture tests, skills-based tests to really, some people look at it and go quite a bit over the top, but I think people that want to come and work for us and join our mission, they're happy to do that. And a few members of the team have joined us recently. They've gone through that and they actually said that, they enjoyed it because they felt like they was doing it for the right reasons, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I mean, I like a difficult interview progress. And when I say difficult, I mean like one that is not, your average interview, and they're really trying to understand who you are, because it just makes me feel like when I get into that company, there will be other people that, that share the same kind of drive as I do. And I won't be working with somebody who, was able to conduct a good interview, but at the end of the day, like dragging their feet along the floor once they're in. So, I mean, I would have thought that, people who are those A players, as you said, would kind of like value an interesting interview progress, like it sounds you have. So you have described yourself as addicted to learning. And I wanted to know if you have always been addicted to learning, or if there was a switch that flipped. And what does learning look like in your daily life?
I never really thought about it until you just asked that, but I think I've actually always been addicted to learning if it's something I enjoy. I really struggle with learning something I don't enjoy, which probably most people are like. But I remember going back to school, didn't particularly enjoy school, but A-levels I enjoyed it because it was the things that I really wanted to do. I learned, as I said earlier, taught myself how to build websites from scratch with coding, from YouTube, just literally watching it, doing it. And now, I mean, I'm always watching, a lot of stuff about AI at the minute. So I do a lot on YouTube, listen to podcasts quite a lot, and different ebooks. Listen to like Audible more than reading, just because I'm driving a lot and things like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love it. I think it's actually what I found difficult recently is finding a balance between like bringing on information and information overload, and actually being able to take action with that. So I kind of slowed down a little bit over the past couple of weeks, just so I can say, right, let's implement some of this knowledge, because knowledge without action is a bit pointless, really.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I get quite I just when I'm taking in like all this information from podcasts or whatever, and I don't have time to implement it, as you were just saying, I feel like, what's the point? And
Mm.
it's like almost as if I've got my hands tied behind my back, um, which, it kind of sounds like how you feel as well. Um, so, you've mentioned ebooks and podcasts, and I also understand that you're like doing a mentorship program as well. Is that right?
Yeah, so I work with a couple of coaches at the minute. I always feel that sometimes the easiest thing to do is to just buy in knowledge or skills if you don't have them. So I've been part of a business coaching for 18 months now, which has been amazing, really. We've also done some coaching for sort of LinkedIn personal brand and setting up a podcast as well. Because you can go and find out all this information, but sometimes it's a lot quicker to just pay the money, buy it in, speak to people with the experience. They've also got so many contacts that open doors for you. So I would highly recommend that to most people, really, in business and in life, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, as you said, you can go off and like read up about it, but I suppose when you're working with a one-to-one coach, it's tailored advice, which I imagine is super helpful. How
Yeah.
often do you meet with this coach? Is it like a weekly thing?
So one of them is a group, like more like a mastermind. That's once a month. We also go to a dinner once a month as well. So that's good, but a lot less formal. It's more just chatting to business owners, because that's part of uh, part of being in business, being an entrepreneur. Is it can be quite lonely sometimes. Friends and family don't always understand the challenges you're going through. So that's really nice just to go and chat to people who understand what you're going through at times. And then the other coach, which we've used for personal brand and LinkedIn and stuff, is sort of every fortnight, just one to one.
Um, so at the beginning of the interview, you mentioned like you've got a really good life at the moment. Business is going well, relationships, family, all that kind of stuff. Um, but you are super busy. So how do you manage your time to spend time with friends and family, but then also, doing everything that you're doing the podcast, running companies, investing, keeping your ear to the ground so you're like clued up on what is going on in the market. How do you what is downtime to you? And do you carve out time to spend with your family? Like, what does that look like in Jamie's world?
Yeah, that is an ongoing battle. But yeah, I try to be disciplined with it. I try to have it in the diary and stick to that. So, as example, I would see my family on Tuesday night. Like that's I go around there for dinner, or they come to mine for dinner. Um, I mean, if me and my girlfriend are going on date night, that goes in the diary, so nothing can clash with it. But downtime for me, I love cooking. That's quite a thing that if I like cooking anyway, but if I'm particularly stressed, I'd happily just spend half a day in the kitchen just cooking up a big meal, few courses. So I like to do that a lot. Gym, I like to play paddle, do a bit of football. I'm trying to learn golf as well, which it's not going too well at the minute, but we'll get there. So
What's an
yeah, just I don't know,
amateur?
just oh god, I've not even got to that stage yet. We're just talking about driving range at the minute. But yeah, that's something that I want to get good at. But again, like it comes back to like I want to push myself to be good at that, because I know I'm not that good at the minute. Like that now is my bug where I'm like, right, I need to become good at golf. So
Yeah.
ask me in a year's time and we'll see where we're at. But yeah, I don't know. Just my downtime is, I love to go for walks, like in nature, in the forest, down public footpaths, away from traffic, away from noise. That's really good. Just come away from my desk, away from my computer, away from my phone, just try and have some calm time.
Yeah. I mean, the screen time can be intense when you're, doing the things that you're doing. So I appreciate going for nature walks and seeing some green and the sky. I imagine that that's very calming. So, you are doing fantastic things on LinkedIn, I think, and with the podcast, you're really doing fantastically in expanding your network. What is your philosophy on building meaningful business relationships?
Mhm. I think this is something I've been actively pursuing really over the last couple of years. Is getting out and meeting more business people. I think it's just being quite open, being quite vulnerable. I think is a good thing. Talking about the challenges you're going through, being able to express them so people understand they're not just going through their challenges. Um, you know, it can be hard because running a business, like you say, is time consuming. So trying to carve out time for that is difficult. But I think being there, being able to communicate with people, following up, making sure you do the things you say you're going to do as well. Builds trust and respect. And put off, putting yourself out there, going out your comfort zone to go and talk to people, or go into an event that maybe you can't be bothered to go to that night because you're tired. But actually saying, look, you never know. It always happens when I can't be bothered to go. I end up meeting someone who just blows my mind, or who, there's a potential chemistry or business opportunity, whatever it may be. So I think just be open to it.
Have you always been like very has it been always easy or for you? I mean, I say has it always been easy? That's like an assumption, but it comes across like you can go into a room of people that you don't know and speak to people.
Mm.
No, that's not the case.
No, I would say I'm quite an introvert.
Go on then.
Most people probably wouldn't say that.
So tell me like your game plan when you're going to an event where you don't know anybody.
So I went to one last week. Like, I have got better at it because just through experience, but just do it early. I think if you go into a room, you see people talking, you don't know who to go up to, you don't know who to talk to. The longer you stand there and not talk to anyone, the harder it becomes. So I would generally go in, someone right in front of me, they're getting spoke to, and then straight away, you've kind of calmed your nerves, and they'll introduce you to someone they know, and then you get chatting, and then it starts flowing, and it's fine.
Yeah. I think that's a great way. One thing one top tip that I have picked up, is like when you're going into a room and you don't know anybody, approach the triangle. So when there's three people, because it's easier to get in. Don't disturb if like people are having a one-on-one conversation, unless one of the people looks horrified by what the other person is saying, then they probably need a helping hand. But yeah, I've always found that the triangle is a great approach because, as I
Yeah.
said, just slip right in. So you co-founded Karis Helping Hand in 2021, supporting children with brain tumors. So
Yeah.
this really interests me for a number of reasons, but I'd really like to know, like, why is this mission close to your heart, and how did you go about setting it up?
Yeah, so Karis, who it's named after, was my cousin. She passed away, how many years? 8 years ago, maybe now, when she was 10. She literally had a lifelong battle with various illnesses, but she had two brain tumors, one when she was 2, one when she was, sort of 9, 10. And, my family, my auntie, who I run it with, they got a lot of help and support from other charities, and she wanted to do the same. So I said I'll do it with her. And so now, yeah, we support other people who've gone through similar challenges by trying to give them some sort of happy memories, whatever that may be. So we've done a variety of things now, but a lot of what we do is sending them out on days out or trips away. But we've also done sort of gifts or even if the family is struggling, because sometimes, they have to take time off work to look after the children. We've paid bills for them or given them food vouchers, whatever it may be. Whatever we can do for them to make life easier or to give them some sort of happy memories is what we try and do.
I think that's really, really admirable. And I'll put all
Thank you.
information about that in the show notes so people can check it
Thank
out
you
and
very
maybe
much.
support if they can. So what do you want people to know about you? Like, beyond the business, what's important for people to understand?
I think I'm just quite a normal guy, really. I'm quite an honourable person, someone that listens. I'm quite into developing myself as well. So I've gone through therapy and counselling and stuff to understand my own emotions and stuff. So I like to be there to support people where possible. I'd like them to think that I'm a good boyfriend, good family man, brother. That all means quite a lot to me. I haven't got kids yet, but that would be the case one day. And when that's the case, I want to be known as a good dad. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it in a nutshell.
I think that's a perfect answer, to be honest. So the
Thank you.
name of this podcast is Taking Care of Business. So what does it mean to you to take care of business?
I think this has changed for me a lot, but now it is really just doubling down and seeing where we can go. We want to step up the game and play quite big in terms of acquisitions and investing, and really push the boundaries. And for me, it's just important that I spend my time on those high value tasks, high leverage tasks to really go and push us forward and stay very strategic. And that's the bit I enjoy as well. So it will be fun. It will probably be stressful, but it will be all worth it, I think.
I can't wait to see what is going to happen in the next
I'm
10
talking a
years.
big game here, so it needs to work. It needs to come off.
Exactly. You have committed yourself now. But listen, you have achieved so much in these last 10 years. As I said, it's the whole compounding thing, You've done XYZ in 10 years. It's like, if you carry on with the same kind of mindset that you have now, I mean, I'm really excited to see what happens in the future. So thank you so much for coming on to Taking Care of Business. I've had a really fun time chatting with you and learning about business and just about who you are. So tell me, when is your podcast being released and aired for the first time?
We are planning to launch on I always get this wrong, it's either the 8th or the 9th of September. It's a Tuesday. So we've filmed 9 episodes so far, which have been really good. We've got, I think, 2 or 3 before then as well. So we've got quite a few banked up. But yeah, it's the Tuesday. I think it's the 9th of September.
That's really exciting. I cannot wait to follow and subscribe to everything that you are on.
Thank you very much.
But yeah, thank you ever so much for your time. And thank you for everybody for tuning into another episode of Taking Care of Business. And we'll see you back again here next time.